Defying a government who defies their people is a virtue. Getting rid of them is a moral responsibility. Everyone now, everyone please stand up. Grab the hand of the person to your left, the hand of the person to your right. Hold it over your head. Let them hear this in the state of Washington. On the count of 2. 1, 2, hit it again. United we stand. Let's do it one more time, if for no other reason than to bug Ames's liberal neighbors. Are you ready? 1, 2, hit it. United we stand. I think they heard you in Barcelona. Have a seat. My dear friends, multiply that sound you just heard 217 million times. 217 million represents 70% of America, who has said in the last 13 months in 5 different surveys, we favor the grassroots agenda over either party. 6 weeks ago, 2 independent surveys came out and said the same thing. 69% of Americans are dramatically moving from the left to the right. Not necessarily the political right, but the moral right as they see it. What does that mean to you? It means your president is irrelevant. He has no mandate. It means your Congress and the asylum on Capitol Hill is irrelevant. They have no mandate. It means your political parties are irrelevant. They have no mandate. Who is the only group in this country who has the mandate from the American people to take back this country? It's the face staring back at you at the mirror. Give yourselves a rounding applause. My friends, it is not hyperbole. It is not rally rhetoric. It's a fact. This is your moment in history. You have the power. Power is meaningless unless you target it on one single goal and bring a massive amount of forces together on that goal. In all of your groups, you must abandon your ego, and you must find the 4 or 5 principles that you can all agree upon. And remember what brought you to this movement. You came here as patriots. Don't become politicians. Your power is on the outside, influencing both parties. Don't even think about a third party. You have the power. Now you have to use it. The hard work begins. Will you use it? But let us not delude ourselves, my friends. A landslide victory on November 2nd might simply mean we are rearranging the alligators in the same putrid swamp. It's not a question of cleaning out the swamp. It's a question on making sure that swamp never returns. As a great American who is going to follow me, I know is going to say that the real battle begins on November 3rd. We will find out what our mettle is. We will find out how much we are going to sacrifice to rebuild this country. And he will talk brilliantly and very specifically on how to do that. And we are very honored that he will do that and will be here. So let us not delude ourselves. Our government is broken. Our corrupted political system of self-interest and lockstep party voting must be thoroughly and immutably cleaned out, or on election day, it will happen all over again and again. This is your moment. It's time for the only stimulus package that works, the We the People stimulus package. You have 45 days to find and support candidates with the guts to be statesmen and stateswomen, who have the guts to rise above their party and speak out when they know they're speaking for the truth. We need to vote for character. We need to vote for principle, not over party affiliation. Our principles have never failed us, but we have failed our principles by ignoring them. You haven't done that. You're here to restore them. You must raise the national discussion to one of principles. You will lose on politics. You will lose on policies. That's what they use, the opposition. But it is time for us to understand all that we are and all that we can be as Americans has already been written in the past. We have to go back and rediscover our birth. We have to go back and understand what we must do. And what we must do is talk principle. Principle, principle. What is your principle, Mr. Candidate, that allows you to support $530.8 billion a year from a bankrupted treasury that American taxpayers must hand over for welfare for illegal aliens? What is your principle, sir? You must raise the national debate to the strength that built this country. I know of no man who fought in any war, whether the Revolutionary War or World War II, who went to war for a president, for a Congress. They went to war for their mother and father and their children and the principles that built this country. We must do the same now. Finally, in every conflict America has had, we have had to pause and answer the question, why do we fight? 1 year ago today in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, 58-year-old Oriana Paul, a housewife who had never been an activist before, stood in the middle of the town square with all the banners you have. She was conducting her first rally. She was crying. It was 1.5 hours before the rally. And I went over and I said, Oriana, what's the problem? She says, Mr. Payne, we thought we'd have at least 1,000 people. We only have about 50 people here, and it looks like we're not going to have any more. 1 hour and 45 minutes later, 9,800 Wisconsin people showed up at that rally. Mr. Payne began to speak. In the middle of the speech, I felt a hush in the audience. And I looked, and coming down the center aisle was a very senior citizen, a lady with a very large green hat. She came up on stage, and as she was coming up the steps, 2 large gentlemen tried to help her up. She said, get your hands off me, I'm going to do this myself. She must have been born in Oregon. She came up the steps, came over and said, young man, hand me that microphone. I said, young man, I'm 213 years old. She didn't blink. She says, funny, you don't look it. I handed her the microphone. She spoke without notes. She spoke brilliantly. She spoke in pace, and she spoke from the heart. I will speak with notes because we recorded what this lady said. And I respectfully suggest all America must understand this. She said, my name is Alma Mae McCorkle. I'm 94 years old. I'm here today because I don't want my country to die before I do. A whole lot of good people died to give you the gift of America. You didn't deserve it. You weren't entitled to it. It was a gift. Now you have to earn it. Don't think all your marching, protesting, and signing petitions is about bringing back a healthy economy. It's not. The economy will return, albeit causing all of us to do more with less and to teach our children they deserve nothing they don't earn. Amen. But what doth it profit a nation, she said, if it regains its economy but suffers the loss of its own soul? In school, when you were children, our faith was indispensable. We placed it in the center of our republic, in our founding documents, our Declaration of Independence, and our Constitution. Now, activist judges work to rewrite our history and remove that faith because a minority who do not believe are governing this country. You're fighting to restore a triumph of principle over politics. You're fighting for the heart and soul of America, and don't you forget it. Alma May received the second largest standing ovation I have ever seen. The first came about 6 seconds later. She said, "Hand me that microphone again." I learned to do exactly what Alma May said. She spoke these words: "My husband was killed at Guadalcanal. My brother was a Marine killed in the Korean War. And one of my sons lost both his legs in Vietnam. You tell that big mistake in the White House, if he still doesn't think America is exceptional, then kick his skinny behind out of office first thing in the morning and find a real American for that job." Alma May lived to see her wish. She died 11 days later. But hopefully her words will ring true with us for quite a long time. My dear friends, once before, when our government failed us, we put our faith in one another and we birthed a country. Now you are doing it again, putting your faith in one another. Forget the criticism. Turn your back on people who refuse to talk about principle and remain steadfast. And in order to demonstrate that, I would like to ask, are there any World War II veterans in this audience? Please raise your hand and make yourself known. Are there any? Would all those veterans join me on stage? The World War II veterans, join me on stage. Get up, come over here by the steps. We need you now. Those World War II veterans. Are there any families in this audience who supported a veteran in World War II? Raise your hands. Anyone who supported a veteran in World War II, would you please join us on stage? Any family? This way, sir. All the young people in our audience, please, if you pay attention to nothing else, pay attention to this. Look at these men, look at these people coming on this stage. They represent 14 million Americans who won the greatest victory for freedom, not only for this country, but for the world. Young people, take a good look. The only reason you have your iPods, the only reason you have your cell phones, the only reason you have your big screen TVs is because these men and their comrades fought that you could have that freedom. It's time you learn the real history of the United States of America. May I suggest we all salute America's greatest heroes. We salute you. Salute everyone. Thank you. Remain here. Thank you. These men represent the greatest generation. Now America needs a new greatest generation. And I'm looking at them right now. You didn't fail us. You did your work. Now it's time, Eagles, for you to do your work. Are you going to fight to get back America? Yeah. My name is Thomas Paine. May God bless the grassroots movement, and may God bless America.